the first topic I want to discuss with you guys is how we can optimize sharpness with knives. For sharpening razors, there are 5 different levels of sharpness. So you can just bump a hair onto a blade and it will cut the hair. That's razor 3, and there's five levels total. Razor 5, you can whittle hair. You just pass it on the blade and it will split in 2. That would be the ultimate sharpness, but you don't want that on your blade because that's not a practical edge. It will roll on you very fast, so it's just not worth it. But you can get a blade that's really sharp and shave hair, and that's the practical edge. This is not a test for razors, by the way, so even though it's shaving, this is not razor sharp. But that's an excellent sharpness for your knives, if you're crazy about sharpening like I am, at least. So I have the knives here, even around 56 HRC, and they can hold this edge for several months. Like cooking 1 to 2 times a week, and that lasted 3 months without any touch-up, just using the knife. And to be fair, it didn't even lose the sharpness at the end. I just got bored and changed it. So paper tests are pretty useful too, because they allow you to test the whole length of the blade and go from the heel to the tip. If you cut fast, you don't see all imperfections on your knife, so make it slow. I also like receipt paper. They're a bit harder to cut than that other paper. And push cut, when you stay on the same spot of the blade. Another test I like to use is the visual inspection of the edge. You see on this edge, you have several points of reflection. It's actually reflecting on most of the surface. That means the edge is either worn out or rolled over. This one is not freshly sharpened. As you can see, it has a minor reflection here, but it barely reflects any light, so it's a lot sharper than the other one. There is another sharpness test I like to use, 3-finger test from Murray Carter. I use it slightly modified because I'm afraid I'm going to get cut. So put a finger on the spine and use 3 fingers on the edge, and do that with very little pressure. Make sure there's no one close to you that won't bump to you and cut your finger. And if you do that very lightly, you can test how slippery the edge is or how jagged it is from micro serrations. A used knife will have their edge worn and it slips. I think this visual test for checking for brightness and the 3-finger, I think they're practical since you don't have to dry your blade to test it on paper every time. But you don't need to do those. Especially the 3-finger, it's kind of scary. Most people don't like it. As long as by the end your knife can shave hair, it's a great result. So you can use it if you like it. I never cut myself doing this test, so at least for me I think it's kind of safe, but not really. You really need to be careful if you want to do this. Talking about Murray Carter, he has one of the best videos about sharpening that I have ever seen, so it's really good. If you are crazy about knives and sharpening, I really recommend you to check it out. It's a freaking 3 hours long video, but it's worth it. So, links in description. Those tests I told you will check for apex sharpness, and that's not all. Even when they pass, the knife may not be well sharpened. And why do I say that? Because you also need edge geometry and blade geometry. If your knife has very poor blade geometry, it will not cut well, even if it passes those tests. And you'll notice that cutting food. But that's beyond the scope of this video, so hope you guys enjoyed. If you like the video, press thumbs up, subscribe, activate the bell icon, and see ya.